What's up, Highland? Boy, we are wrapping things up. We're kind of putting things to, a bow on things here at the end. We're going to do a few more episodes, and we're going to take a little break for a few months and come out early next year and ramp things back up. Man, do we have some awesome announcements coming up.
We can't reveal it yet.
No, we can't, but this is specific to What's Up Highland and the city of Highland. So stay tuned. But we do want to remind everyone to follow us on our YouTube page, What's Up Highland, our Facebook page, What's Up Highland. Thank everyone for following us on our first year. It's been more than what we expected, a lot more work than what we expected, but we've met some great people. Going to meet some great people here today as our guests, but so we'll let them introduce themselves, their mission, and what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, well,
You'll also want to kind of stay up to the mic too. Yeah. This is off the air stuff, like producer. We're going to do it live on the spot, so you get the behind the scenes. But talk close to the mic, just like I'm doing.
okay. Well, thank you. Hello, my name's Adrienne Caseberg, and I am the Regional Council Manager for Birth to 5 Illinois, Region 41. So we cover all of Madison County, and I actually have two other additional people that support me in this work. A family and community engagement specialist that you might see out at events like the Highland PB&J Festival, and an administrative assistant. But I have brought with me today one of our family council members to talk about the work that we've been doing. I'll let her.
Who are you?
My name is Crystal Hulsman, and I've lived in Highland for about 12 to 13 years.
Import.
And
It said import. Go ahead.
well, actually,
Sorry.
no, I left for college and came back, but
corrected.
technically, if you want to do that,
Thank you.
I graduated from Troy.
I
So
love the directness. I am. No, I was born here too, but this isn't about me, Ryan. No, anyway.
But no, I joined Birth of 5 about 3 years ago, so I've been with this group since it started in Madison County.
Okay.
I'm super excited.
So what is it? What is Birth to 5?
So Birth to 5 Illinois was just a group to try to figure out what's actually happening in the different regions across the state. So there are 39 regional offices like mine throughout the state. There are 18,309 children right here in Madison County that don't have access to early childhood education. And so that's really where it started and what those families need and how they need that. But we are led by our family and community experiences because we don't know what they need unless they tell us, right? And so we have a family council, which Crystal has been a part of, and an action council. The family is all families that have children under the age of 8. And so they've been able to kind of look at the things, look at what is barriers to them to getting access to those services that they need so greatly. And then we have an action council that's led by community, people who are actually doing the service for the families in all types of service, like transportation, in child care centers, in school districts, in our child care and research and referral agencies, those people who kind of connect families to the programs. So we bring all of those people together to really try to figure out what our families need specifically here in Madison County.
What's the most common scenario that you guys are kind of helping solve or work with in the area, Madison County?
So what we did first was really just do what we called a regional needs assessment and kind of look at what all of those things were by asking those families and community providers, looking at what information we already had, what they could give us, the data, data's everywhere. So look and see those numbers, but really actually see if those numbers were accurate. So we delved deep the first and that report's been about 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And in that time of the first year, we had the opportunity to do a lot of interviews to get the demographics of all the different places in Madison County, because you have like the bigger places like Edwardsville, then you have Highland, but then you have the smaller towns that they have to come to these larger locations just for childcare, and those childcare centers are already you have a wait line of a year. You have difficulties trying to get any accommodations for your children if they have, any type of delayments. So trying to figure out how to help out all families, whether they're in the rural backcountry or if in a larger city, on how to help them and get those possibilities taken care of, because we want all of our children to have the same start as everyone else. So that way there is no, extra parts that you have to introduce for your child to grow and be as to the full potential that they've always wanted to be. And that definitely helped out with the first year. So we did interviews with Diane Williams at Haxum to see, especially through the food pantry, those
I
families
was
that
already
needed.
processing that as you're talking. I'm like, do you guys partner with the food pantry? Because we interviewed them, I don't know, at some point throughout the last year, and your services sound like they would align together.
We definitely, I spent about a good hour and a half talking to her, asking what kind of families, because they don't just serve around, in Highland.
awesome.
She serves she is. She's a great person.
Absolutely.
And definitely talking to her is like, okay, so this is what we need here. And then we also looked, and we have a whole map that was set up of different child care centers and what they offered. And the small amount, everyone was just flabbergasted on how many locations, and that was only 2 years ago. Places have been closed down since then.
Yeah.
Other places have lost their funding for those special accommodations for children to have those things. So if we bring forth like, hey, everyone needs a good chance for their child to grow and bloom as we want them to be, we need these starting points for them. Whether it's, wheelchair accessibility, or if the child is nonverbal, how can they communicate with other things? Like technology's grown so much for that, so they can communicate with us and not be left alone. And that's what we're really trying to do with that first year. And then we've changed from the first year to the past 2 years. We've dealt with mental health.
Yeah, and that
Which is a
first
big,
year-
important thing.
Absolutely, because over that first year, all of the feedback that we were hearing was going back to that mental and behavioral health.
Yep.
So lots of the interviews and surveys and questions and listening sessions that we did all referred back to that mental health. But we put it in place in that first year after we did that report and action plan. So that second year, we focused on doing an action plan of the highest needs that came out of that report. And it was really, you can't have childcare without a workforce. So we've been really focused on trying to connect workforce pieces and try to increase our early childhood positions, not only childcare teachers, but specialists that support the child all around. So those therapists, those early intervention specialists, which are the ones who go in the home and provide early services to them. So how do we support that workforce and building it? And then the second thing we were really focused on was building peer-to-peer advocacy, which, and that's just helping parents advocate for their children, whether it be in the school system or even navigating just how to process the paperwork to get into childcare, right? So getting some assistance to pay for that. So
you're working with parents as well.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because
So-
as a parent, you don't know all of the hurdles that you have to go through. So depending on what your child is diagnosed with, how to get your child diagnosed with, it's so much easier for parents who go through the early childhood, because when you do that filing, you have to do it with your pediatrician. And they give you a packet, and then they give your teacher a packet. And then you have to fill it out, and then they mark it. And it's like, oh, here's your diagnosis for your child, which is extremely difficult, because if you have a child who isn't going to school yet, if you have a child that you homeschool, how are you going to get that? How do you get that filled out, that questionnaire?
Absolutely.
So you have those hurdles that you have to get just the diagnosis started. Is the diagnosis correct? Then you have to worry about where you're going to take your child. That would be insurance. That would be specialists. For some people, they can't drive to Missouri every other month, or then they have to wait for 6 months because there's been a huge amount of people going and trying to get their child taken care of. So you have insurance telling you that it's either they can only pay so much, it is out of district, so then you have to find a different specialist. If you have labs done, you have to find someone that's also in district. And that's just that part of the area. Then you have to make sure that you have a good team to help your diagnosis. And if your child goes to school, then after that, then you have to go through the hurdles of IEPs. Make sure that your child is taken care of through primary school, elementary school, and then they transition it to the middle school and then the high school.
Yeah.
And then you have all those other hurdles of, because with my son, we finally got to 5th grade where we figured out everything for him to be successful as he is. We had to figure out what kind of specialists, and then you have therapies, and then you have medications. And there are so many things for all these kids that they have to go through, and then they transition through so many things, and they need everyone's help.
Yeah.
They need the medical help, they need their peer help, they need help from school so that way they can transition, because they're now going through a point in their life to where they don't understand that they're going through things that are different than everyone else. Then now they're on a medication, so they see things differently. Then they go to a therapist and hey, put these things into an active source. But guess what? The whole play group that we just did may not match your peer group, because your peer group's not acting like the therapist is acting.
So give us, I'm an illustration guy.
Oh, sure.
Give us a synopsis of, the maybe the genesis phase of a family that may be a good, you identify them as a good participant for yourself. What does it look like for like A to Z? Like they reach out, like how does the whole thing look like?
Sure. So here's the thing: you become a family council member. So every May to usually July, family council members can fill out an interest form and say, I'd be interested in kind of serving on our family council or action council. And then we meet once they're selected. So we have a selection team that selects families like Crystal's. And then we start, so right now we're in the middle of orientation, just onboarding a new group of families to come and listen and be a part of this monthly meeting that we have, and where you're bringing different families and raising problems and questions. Here's the thing: when we do all of these reports, we get to share this information with like local leaders. Crystal goes with us. Our family council, our action council get to be actively involved in that, because we are not leading the work. We are providing backbone support to these other agencies, but we don't know, and policymakers and local leaders do not know what the problems are. The things that Crystal is saying, that's why we're here, to listen to what our families are experiencing and then sharing it, because together we can solve a lot of problems right here in our own community, right here in Madison County, if we're working together.
Are you like the Mayo Clinic? And you know what I mean? Like they take you and they evaluate all of your needs, and then they say, hey, instead of you going to 10 different specialists, the Mayo Clinic will evaluate everything and then say, hey, these are the areas that you need. Is that similar?
Ideally, wouldn't that be right? So that's what we're trying to do for early childhood education here in the state of Illinois. So we're in support of that. There's a new department for early childhood services being developed, and so we're a part of that transition, and that'll keep moving forward. And so yes, ideally that's what we would love it to look for families, right? So that they're not reaching over here. They know and understand that process. Everybody knows, and every child in the state can be successful.
How do families find you or know that you're a resource for them? Because people may just not know where to turn.
Yeah, so we're not a direct resource.
We're not, but that's why the family council is there, is that we are in the community. I've been, Max Family Fun Time was a wonderful place. They let us be there so we can reach out to the parents there. We've gone to the Latsert Children Library here in town. We've had 2 locations of that one to where we can have parents come up and ask us questions. We have made ourselves as available as we can during those locations, during those times, PB&J, and also through by word of mouth. There is at least 3 or 4 of us that are in Highland right now, and we say, hey, I know you're struggling as I am, and I know you have problems. This is what we've been working on. This is what we're trying to help with. We're trying to give you that guidebook that every parent is wishing for and help you streamline through this, so that way you have as less of the hurdles that you already need.
And you provide, like, from a financial perspective, you guys do or do not provide financial resources, what you're funding?
We don't really do any direct service, but we do. Birth to 5 Illinois does fund work throughout the state. Actually, we have collaborations. So as Birth to 5 Illinois, our regional office works very closely with what we call a collaboration, the Madison County Alliance for Children in families, and they just received funding to do some of that work. So we work very closely with them, and so they're doing like work groups, and they're doing a system. They're working with a system called IRIS, and it's what we call an integrated referral system, so you don't get lost in the system. So if the health department nurse thinks that you might need some support from early intervention, which are those services that come into your home and help your child, then she may refer them over to there through a system, and say, so that family does not have to go home, try to call, and then go back, because you're so overwhelmed sometimes that your child might need help, right? That's so hard sometimes. So that's a system that they work with, and we work with them, as well as local libraries, to just connect families to all of this information.
So if a viewer knew they needed some help with kids, with their child, and they raise them raising their hand, what is that first step that they need to do? Is it reach out to you? Is it reach out to a partner of your guys's?
Sure. So you could reach out to Birth to 5 Illinois, Region 41. We have a website, and there's a contact information right there where you can get an email directly to us, and we could connect you with that, or connect you with Crystal that could help you right here in the community. We have a link to all of the agencies and partners that are on our councils as well. You can see that.
Well, we also have a very active Facebook as
Yes.
well. So,
Thank you
especially for
mentioning
that one around Madison County, they have a
Absolutely.
very active Facebook where you get posts from the state worldwide on their form of what they have available, and also other different trainings too for parents like that.
Absolutely.
So, because of Birth to 5, I was connected to StarNet, and I got to do a lot of bit of training to help out on myself to make me a more informed mother for my children. And it's a community thing. It's really built on us supporting each other as we should as parents. And you can raise your hand. We can show you different directions of what you can go, some things that you might need to think about because no one told us to think about until after we
Absolutely.
tripped on them.
sure.
So it's definitely just more of a collaborative help of people helping each other.
So would it be accurate to say you guys are more of instead of actual hands-on, you guys are more of a connector?
Absolutely.
And also
Is that-
advisory as well.
Love
We're
to
really
call
good as
ourselves-
connecting and advisory
Okay.
because I'm not trained as a caretaker. I cannot go and open up my own little home to have children there as caregiver. I'm not a doctor, but as a parent, I can tell you the trials of taking those steps and what we had to navigate and what we lucked out on. And just by that is extremely helpful for any other parent who's going through those struggles.
Absolutely.
And then I can also connect you because it is such a great network of, hey, we just heard that this place opened up over here and it'd be a great place for you to start out instead of you going across the river. Or, hey, we just found out through this anything else, whether it's training, whether it's an open facility for your child to go, whether it's hey, we've got this great idea that might help your child be able to navigate through therapy, through a different form of medication. It's that networking that we can open up for your family to find its own special needs, because not every family is
It's the same,
a
no.
cookie cutter family. It's all different, but we try and help navigate this.
What about? It sounds like a great resource. What about legal resources? Let's say you got a family that has a special needs child, and they
love
may
that
need
question.
some trust work or to talk with someone about maybe their state benefits and how that can be. I mean, do you
Love
guys?
that question. We just did a listening session, so we'll do what we call listening sessions and bring people in that. So, oh my goodness. Equipping the Called is a legal agency that can provide services if your child has a what we call a 504 or an individualized IEP plan, and they can help you navigate that legal piece. And so they set in on a listening session, and so we invited providers and families to come and listen to the services that they provide. And so that's one of the things that we do. Listen to our family council and say, okay, legal, like that piece was something families wanted to know more about.
I
And
gotta imagine it's very underserved.
Absolutely, right? So then they are a free agency that supports throughout the state with that. And so we provide listening sessions for that. So listening to community needs and what our other service providers are like, oh, we'd love to know more about that agency or whatever. We'll host a listening session so that other providers can and families can learn more about that agency.
Do you ever have to turn anyone away? I mean, do you ever get the my kid won't eat his green beans?
So we don't
And you
turn-
guys say, "Hey, that come on!" Like,
So we don't turn anyone away. We make sure that we can find a warm handoff. We find somebody
Okay.
throughout the state that can support that family. And each family, like Crystal said, looks very different. And so the services that they need. But that's why we talked about being community connectors, right? Because the more people at the table, the more we can brainstorm.
you're a you're a
and
catalyst
share
for a lot of
that.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are a connector.
And we just,
Yes.
one of the things that we're doing as we continue to move forward in this next year, and I just want to say this because we know that we have reports and you can access them through our website, but we're continuing to do that, right? Those needs change all the time. The number of families switch. And so we're getting ready to do a new report. So if you are like, hey, they need to know about my program, I am a family, I'd love to share my needs so that that can be elevated, please reach out to us because we would love to have you be a part of an interview or a listening session because those are the things that we're going to do over the next 3 or 4 months to send out a new somewhat report because we want to make sure that that information that we're sharing with the public is as relevant to what's going on right now as possible.
And also, the more families that we have put together helps us figure out what is all the needs because you don't know what the hurdles are until
don't know.
everyone starts saying, "Hey, this is what I've been hitting." Oh, really? So have I been? And you don't know those things until you get everyone involved. You get all the stories, the community saying, "These are the things I'm hitting here. These are my problems," and no one knows that it's a common problem until everyone says it. So the more families that we have, the more families that speak out saying, hey, where can I get help? I needed someone to advocate for me or help me become a better advocator for my family. And that's how we can get all the information. Mm-hmm. That's how we know how many people can serve all these different things. Because, I mean, there's over, almost 1,500 children just around here with only maybe 500 pediatricians helping them out. Mm-hmm. That's a very high number in comparison of those that can provide those things for them. We wouldn't have known until we looked and we asked and we discussed and we collaborated. And then we also didn't know all these other large bits of data that have helped us in the past 3 years without discussing with everyone.
And actually really looking and diving deeper into it because, some people are listed as providing services over here, like on this side of the river for like the entire day, but they really are only over here 2 to 3 times a week for 2 to 3 hours or doing telehealth services. So that's actually not really being accessible to the families who need it. So without looking at that together with families and really hearing what's actually happening, we wouldn't know that. Neither would our local leaders or our policymakers because they are looking at data numbers and that not actually what's happening.
Yeah. Do you guys, and this, I might be throwing you on the spot here.
No, you're
we
fine.
can circle back if you
Absolutely.
want. But do you guys have like a specific moment that we can leave names off, of course, but of a heartwarming scenario that you guys can think of that you guys just, it makes your day and why you show up every day on something that might have happened or, we can, like I said, I'm throwing you on the spot here. We can circle back.
Well, as a family council, most of them are my stories, I guess, because I have 2 sons, and it took many years for my son, because I don't want to name him, because he even asked me specifically not to. But it took until 5th grade. We had to figure out everything from like early childhood, because we were part of that. He went to the primary and everything else. And we went through so many hurdles of diagnoses. Like he is high-function autistic with hyperactivity ADHD. And then a couple years after, we found out that he had a growth hormone deficiency. So he has to have medication every day, all day. He needs to have medication to help him focus in school. He needs to have medication to put him to sleep. And he needs medication for him to grow appropriately. And he has to go through all these transitions. And the most heartwarming part of it is that now he's in middle school. And he is such a spectacular and funny, and he's just a wonderful person. And he couldn't have been there without all the help of the caseworkers, the nice teachers who helped him the transition, especially with his IEPs, helping him understand how to go about with normal school. And tonight he's playing in 7th grade band as an oboe player, one of 2. And I am so proud of him that he's the reason why I keep doing this over and over, because between him and his brother's combined ADHD, so it's so much fun in my house.
I'll bet.
It is so much fun.
You're not great. You're all right.
I have a few. But no, it's because of these two and how I get to watch them grow and how they actually see the world through their eyes is extremely chaotic, but it's a different thing every day. And then to talk to other family members who go through that and see them finally get out of that whole problem of this is draining, this is exhausting, why can't we have some help? And then see them transition to that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, there is a rainbow at the end, and you just need to take a breath and you'll get there. There's help, there's all these other opportunities. You're not alone, and you'll get there, and you will find the joy of it as you go along. And that's the real heartwarming part, where I've been doing this for 3 years and going on for my 4th, so it's just...
Is that what led you to kind of join the movement, because you saw the services that were there and you're like, I'm passionate? And
yes,
okay.
Because of my children is why I've been a part of this for 3 years. They actually approached me and said, hey, we're looking for this part, and I said I want to be part of that, because if I'm struggling and I know other people are struggling, then that means it's not out there, and we need people to understand these things.
Absolutely. And that's why. And I love being the keeper of the story, because I had to advocate for my own child to get some services. And I'm like, if I'm an educator in a school, like working with school districts and know who to go to, what about all these other parents? So
Right.
when I was able to come back and I'd worked in programs for a long time, and I saw parents being hurt over and over because of things we couldn't do because of barriers, and being able to step out on the other side and share those stories of what's actually happening with our local legislators and our local providers and everybody, and being able to carry those stories, it's the work that keeps me going. Like, just hearing Crystal makes me almost cry, because I've been with Crystal all of this time, and just working with those families. We have family stories on our website, and you can just read the stories of I've been on a wait list trying to get my child in care and almost had to quit my job, because it was, and you have to balance that as a parent, and we don't want you to have to do that. Ideally, that's not what we want, right? We want everybody to be successful.
So you got a parent at home right now that's deer in headlights, don't know where to turn. Like, you're the resource. Contact us. We'll help.
Absolutely help you to connect and get to the right resources. We can connect you to some fabulous resource guides. We have our local child care resource and referral agency. If you're needing child care, we can connect you with our local early intervention service providers if you're needing that. Whatever you're needing, we would love to connect you, or connect you with another family, because sometimes you just need to know you are not alone. Parenting is hard.
Yeah, you hit on the mental, the mental wellness. I mean, you feel like more and more today, it's not hidden.
Absolutely.
It's out there. I think a lot more people are more open about some of their own struggles. I think there's a valid service just in the mental, the mental health side of it, because it there's nothing to be ashamed of, and again, I just feel like it's becoming more just part of our society and things that we need to recognize and address. So
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, a lot of community-based education, so you know about what's out there in the realm of supporting both you and your child's mental health. So that's one of our focus areas that we're leading into as we go into the next year.
And it sounds like you guys are involved pretty heavily in Highland. You said you do PBJ.
We've done a couple of PB&Js. Elena was there most of the, was it 3 days, I think, of the
Yeah, we did
PB&Js.
three.
We've been at the library
summer.
twice, Max at least twice. Well, we did. We've done a lot more research and demographic studies with them. But if we were able to help with them more often, I would